Hey, and welcome to the Chef's Table, a weekly video series for culinary entrepreneurs who want to monetize their skills outside of the kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn. This is the place for successful women who want to live, cook, and work on their own terms. So if that's you, let's get started. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Chef's Table. I'm Chef Evelyn, your host, and this is a weekly video series for women chefpreneurs who want to build high-end culinary brands with multiple streams of income. And listen, I'm so excited to be back for another week. We kicked it off last week. I got a little passionate. I got a little bit excited, but I'm back to be with you another week as we continue with this new season of the Chef's Table. You already know the drill. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Chef Evelyn. Come hang out, join us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that you can get these weekly trainings and get the notifications so that you don't miss out. And if you've been here before, well, welcome back. I'm excited to have you back. Like I said, I spent the majority of last year cooking up some really good stuff, and so I'm excited to dive in. So in my last video, I talked about why you need to build a high-end culinary brand if you don't have one already in this new year, right? We talked about what happened last year, how that is so dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket, and all of that. What we're going to talk about today is I really want to dive into what exactly is a high-end culinary brand and what it's not, because high-end culinary brand is kind of something that I deemed as a phrase that I created. And I really want you to understand the difference between a high-end culinary brand and like a regular culinary brand. And I want to say this, that you can have any type of brand and that brand be successful. So for example, if I were to use our industry, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, you might have heard me talk about this. When you think about restaurants, which I don't teach you how to run a restaurant. If you want to learn how to run a restaurant, like, I'm not your girl. I never worked in restaurants. That really wasn't for me. I didn't want that life, but I'm going to use restaurants to explain my point. When it comes to restaurants, there are a myriad of different types of restaurants: fast food, fast casual kind of chef on, higher tier, high-end Michelin, right? So there is a variety of different, what I would like to call brand levels, okay, when it comes to any industry. It could be makeup, it could be clothes, it could be camera equipment, it could be houses, it could be shoes, it could be coolers, right? Like there's Yeti coolers, right? And then there's like the cheap ones you can get at the dollar store. So here's what I want you to know before we get into what a high-end culinary brand and what it is not, is that any brand done right can be successful. McDonald's is on the what I would call a lower end brand as fast food because of its pricing, because of the ingredients that it uses, their structure and all that. But that's a multi-billion-dollar brand. So I don't want to send the message that if you don't have a high-end culinary brand, you won't be successful. You can't. That's just not what I teach over here, okay? Because I don't know that world. I don't know how to sell my chef services for cheap or use cheap ingredients in my food. That's just not what I do. What I do is I specialize in helping people create the high-end culinary brands that they want so they can work less and make more and charge with their work, right? Okay, so what I want to talk about today is what exactly is a high-end culinary brand and what it's not. And listen, if you see me looking down, it's because I have notes. When I told you I didn't come to play with y'all this year, I meant it. We're being professional. We're having notes. We have bullet points because I really want to make sure that you're getting value out of this time, out of these trainings. I want to make sure that, you understand what I'm trying to say to you, and you can really consider whether or not you want to build a high-end culinary brand or whether you want to do something else, right? So the choice is yours. So let's get into the first thing. So one of the things that I think is very different about a high-end culinary brand versus kind of other, personal chef or freelance chef or chef for hire type brands is that the business is built around your life and not the other way around. So let me give you an example. When I first got into entrepreneurship as an adult, I've had a food business since I was 15. So I've been making money in food since I was 15 and never not had a food business. But when I really said, okay, I'm going to be a culinary entrepreneur, obviously I started with catering, I started with personal chefing, which very popular, and those can be lucrative, and you can make those high-end culinary brands if you so choose. But I kind of approached it the way I saw everybody else approach it. I was taking any client that I could get, and I was working when I didn't want to work, and I was doing things I didn't want to do because I thought I had to do that in order to make money, right? With a high-end culinary brand, what comes first is your life, and the business comes second. And a lot of people, when they start their businesses or when they're growing their businesses, they never really design their business in a way that where the business supports their life and they run the business and the business doesn't run them. So I was taking clients and taking jobs and contracts, and I'm not saying that these were bad, just that I didn't want to do or I didn't want to do that kind of work because I thought, well, if I claim to be this type of freelance chef or this type of caterer or personal chef or whatever I was doing, then this is part of that. And eventually I was like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. And I developed a process for designing a profitable business around the way that I want to work. So that's kind of the difference. And so here's the thing. Some people don't mind. Some people want their job to come first. Some people want their career to come first. That's not what I teach over here because I didn't enjoy that. You know, if you're a career changer like I was and you've left corporate America or you're thinking about leaving corporate America, one of the things that I know is really, really important to you is to have control over your time. You want to own your time, right? And a lot of times, you know, at least for me, I was under the impression that in the culinary industry that you couldn't do that, right? That you had to work nights, weekends, holidays. You had to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week because that's what I saw, and that's what was modeled for me, and that's what I was taught in culinary school. And I was just like, but I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. So the first difference, like I said, is the business is built around your life and not your life is bent around your business. Okay. So the second thing that's the difference between a high-end culinary brand and what I'm just going to call like a regular culinary brand is that there has multiple streams of income. You've heard me talk about this. I already warned you in last week's video that I was going to be really, really driving this point home this year because of what I saw happen, what I was afraid of all these years when I've been doing videos about why you should have multiple streams of income, particularly as the culinary entrepreneur. But a high-end culinary brand has multiple streams of income, whereas a lot of brands is just like, I'm a personal chef, I'm a caterer. I do this, right? And because of the nature of the business, a lot of people are like, well, I don't even know how I would build in multiple streams of income because I'm always in the kitchen, or I always have a client, or I always have this, right? And so I will say that I have developed like a unique formula and approach to make sure that while you are doing active things, because that is a part of our industry, that you can be making money in other ways without having to take on more and more clients and work more and more hours, right? Because that's what I thought initially. I was like, well, the way for me to make more money is obviously to take more clients. But let's use a personal chef, for example. If you're a personal chef and you're doing that business, if you're doing a client a day and you're doing them on a 2-week rotation, well, once you hit 10 clients, your roster is full. Well, what happens when your roster is full? Your income is capped. Like, unless you add more clients, right, then how do you make more money? And even if you decide to increase your prices, there's only so far that you can go realistically. Let's say if you're working with a family of 4, right? And even then, if you're at the top of the price range for a personal chef, you're capped. If you have a catering company, right, once you hit a certain number of gigs per week or per month, even if you hire more staff, hire more people, you're going to get to a point where you're like, we're kind of at capacity of what we can handle. And even then you're working all the time and, you're doing all that. And so it's like, well, how do I make more money without taking on more clients? And if I am at the top of, what my brand can bear price wise, well, what do I do next? Right. So a high-end culinary brand, and what I teach my clients and my students is how to create those additional streams of income so that all your eggs aren't in one basket. And so that if something were to happen to them individually, God forbid, or like what happened to the planet last year, where they can't work, you can't work, or we can't operate, that you don't sacrifice your income and you can continue to make revenue. So that's kind of the difference. I think that there are some very successful culinary brands, some successful food businesses out there who don't have multiple streams of income. So I'm not saying that is not possible. It is possible. it's also very risky, as we saw from 2020. Right? So again, like, this is not something new that I came up with because of last year. If you go back and you watch any of my videos, you'll hear me talk about the importance of having multiple streams of income in your food business. Okay. The third thing is that a high-end culinary brand is built on a very specific expertise, right? So I don't know if you can relate to this. Maybe early in your business, or maybe, you're just starting out, or such you're switching careers, or maybe you've been working in the industry and you're ready to kind of venture out on your own thing. But I don't know about you, but a lot of times, at least it was my experience, and when I saw a lot of chefs or culinary entrepreneurs are generalists. I do a little bit of this, I do a little bit of that, a little bit of that. If you look at their menu, they do a little bit of this, they do a little bit of that, they do a little bit of that. A request comes along in their email inbox. Sure, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, right? And when it comes to a high-end culinary brand, it's really about being a specialist, right? Because part of the fact that you're high-end is that you've decided to dedicate yourself to this particular expertise in food, right? And I'm not just necessarily talking about a genre of food or a region of food or a type of food, but one of the things I help my clients determine is what I like to call their unique culinary point of view, right? And we don't have the time to go into it here. Actually, it takes quite some time to develop that when I work with them, but their brand is built on that particular expertise, right? And that expertise is the glue that holds all those multiple streams together, right? So, if you go and you Google, a catering company in your area, they're going to tell you, oh, we do weddings and we can do anniversary parties, and they've got a mixture of different types of foods on their menu, and it just kind of looks like an all-American. And listen, and they may be doing just fine, right? But for what we're trying to build over here on this channel, high-end culinary brands that command a certain amount of money, command a certain type of clientele, command a certain lifestyle, that formula doesn't work for this recipe, right? For this recipe of a brand. So it's really about being a specialist, knowing what that is, and really leaning into that is going to be one of your distinguishing factors for having a high-end culinary brand. So the next thing I want to talk about, what a high-end culinary brand is and what is not. And I really want to drive this point home. A lot of people that come my way are under the impression that premium prices alone makes a high-end culinary brand. And I can tell you that that's like last on the list, right? Yes, I do believe in charging premium prices, because when you have a high-end culinary brand, you are offering a premium service. If you haven't heard me talk about that, I go into link, like, think about this, right? If you go to a restaurant and you go to a fast food restaurant, preset menu, you have to pick what's on the menu. You don't get to pick the quality ingredients. You have to take what they have. You have to go to them, right? It's around their hours, yada, yada, yada. By the time you get somebody coming to your home, or coming to you directly, or customizing things at the level that we do, the nature of what we do, you get to pick the menu, you get to pick this, you get to pick that, whatever the case may be, right? That's so specialized. That is a luxury premium service. It's the difference between going to a chain spa, going to a 5-star spa, or having a masseuse come to your home. There's levels to this, right? So I want to say that when it comes to premium pricing, I think a lot of people believe that if I could just figure out how to charge higher prices, then I have a higher brand. Not 100% true. There are so many factors that go into being able to charge premium prices, that like I said, we can't, like, it takes me a month to work through that with my clients on how to justify their prices to themselves, how to justify their prices to their prospective clients, and how to charge premium prices but make your ideal client or customer feel like that they're getting an amazing deal. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I do in my business is I do really high level one-on-one consulting with women chefpreneurs, right? And so to work with me one-on-one is a very significant investment, which is why I have a group, because not everybody's ready for one-on-one. But to work with me one-on-one is multiple 4, sometimes 5, depending on the length of figures, right? So it's an investment. And one of my clients, who is at my highest tier, so she's in the multiple 5 figures, told me that investing in herself and her business through me, but investing in herself at multiple 5 figures felt like a steal of a deal. A steal of a deal. And has renewed, right? So she is in her 2nd year of working with me, right? So it's more than just a high price tag. You cannot just slap a high price tag on your chef services and think that you have a high-end culinary brand. You have to know all of the factors. You have to know the formula that it takes to be able to deliver a premium service, a premium experience, so that when you do charge those higher prices, your client, oh, did my earring just fall out? It sure did. When it comes to charging premium prices, you have to have all of the components in place. There is a formula to being able to charge luxury prices. And what you want is you want your potential clients or customers to have that experience where, yes, you charge them premium prices, but they felt like it was a deal, right? Like, that's a win-win. You become well compensated for your expertise, for your skill set, for the service and the experience that you're providing. And they feel like they had this amazing encounter with this specialist, this expert. And yes, they paid premium for it, but it was worth it, right? So I want you to kind of get through your head that I'm not just talking about charging premium prices. I do believe in premium prices. All of my services are premium. That's just the lane I like to live in, right? For my particular brand, like I said before in my previous video, and I think I might have said this in this video, that you can have any kind of brand and be successful. I prefer a high-end culinary brand, but I want to just make that distinction that it's not just about having high prices. That is a piece, but that is not the whole thing. So, and last thing is that the difference between like a regular culinary brand and a high-end culinary brand is we're really focused on the experience of working with you, not just the service of working with you. And that's kind of hard to explain in a 15-minute video, because I think this video is running a little bit long, but there's a difference between selling your service and selling an experience. And I have a colleague who is a high-end event planner, right? And she's like, there's a big difference between hosting an event and hosting an experience, right? And there's a price difference that goes along with that. And so when you have a high-end culinary brand, you're really focused on the experience, not just the service, if that makes sense, right? Because you can have high quality service and not have a high quality experience, if that makes sense. So when it comes to creating a high-end culinary brand, you want to create a high-end experience, not just a high quality service. High quality service is a piece, but it's not the whole formula. So I hope this video really helped you to differentiate between what a high-end culinary brand is and what just a regular solid culinary brand is. And like I said, it's something I help my clients build and all that kind of stuff. And don't worry, I'm going to be opening up the chef's table here soon. But if you missed last week's video, I told a little secret. I'm going to be doing a masterclass particularly about online cooking classes, or cooking classes in general, but coming up soon. So if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure that you are, because I'm going to be sharing information over there about that. I'm just taking a small group through my Cooking Classes That Sizzles program that I have not taught live since 2019 and did not even open up for sale in 2020, right? So it teaches you how to teach in-person classes for when the world opens back up. It teaches you how to teach online cooking classes and also how to do cooking demos for a profit. And instead of being 90 days, I have revamped it, kept all the good stuff, added some new stuff, but I have condensed it to 5 weeks so that you can hit the ground running. And in those 5 weeks, we're exclusively going to focus on online cooking classes. So don't tell anybody else. It's just our little secret. But stay tuned to that. Stay tuned for that. And I will see you in the next video. Peace. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a new episode. And to see what I'm cooking up behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Chef Evelyn. That's all for today, and I'll see you next week. Peace.